We often judge what we don't understand and condemn what we refuse to listen to. In a world quick to speak and slow to hear, many stories are misunderstood, and many hearts are misjudged. Be slow to judge. James 1 verse 19.
Good morning, church. Today, I want to talk about love, mercy, and patience. Love is easy when people treat us well. Mercy is simple when people deserve it. But patience is tested when people confuse us or disappoint us. Or when they keep making excuses.
Maybe they are fighting battles we can't see.
Sometimes the lesson isn't loud. Sometimes, it lives quietly among us. Quiet lessons are easy to ignore. We judge quickly because it feels safer than understanding. There are people in this church you've already judged. Not because you know their story, but because you assumed you did.
I've done that before.
And what happened?
I realized I was wrong.
God didn't call us to be judges. He called us to be witnesses of His love. So what if love gets taken for granted? Then we love anyway. Because patience doesn't change others first. It changes us. I don't think everyone here practices what Pastor James teaches. What makes you say that? People smile inside, then judge outside. They listen to sermons, but they don't live them. That happens. I see it every Sunday. Whispers. Side eyes. Quick conclusions. And you're sure you're not seeing only what bothers you? I'm just being honest. Honesty can still be incomplete. You know what I mean. Some people act holy, but have no patience for anyone who's different. True. But some are still learning. At what point do we stop making excuses for them? At the same point we stop needing mercy ourselves. So we ignore hypocrisy? No. We guard our hearts so we don't become it. I just hate fake faith. So does God. But He also hates pride that pretends it's discernment. You think I'm judging. I think you're hurting. And using judgment as armor. Maybe. Let God finish His work in them. And in us.
Sarah bends slightly, helping the elderly woman adjust her bag. Take your time. There is no rush. Thank you, dear. My hands aren't as strong as they used to be. That's okay. We all need help sometimes. God bless you. He already has. A short distance away, Ethan watches.
Helping when people are watching is easy. No one's watching. Someone always is.
I can manage from here. I'll walk with you a bit longer.
Kindness doesn't prove sincerity. Neither does suspicion. I've seen people act kind in public and cruel in private. And I've seen quiet kindness that never needed applause. You really think she's different? I think we don't know her story yet. We'll see.
Ethan and Lucas are standing near the lockers, watching a girl sit quietly by herself.
She never talks. Always alone. Faith isn't supposed to look that cold. I don't know, Ethan. Maybe she just likes to be alone? Alone? Everyone's supposed to be cheerful, praising, sharing. That's what faith looks like. Maybe faith isn't always loud. Maybe it's quiet too. Quiet? That's just cold. Something's off. Or maybe we're just judging too quickly.
Pastor James walks quietly toward a homeless man sitting on a bench. He kneels slightly and hands him a small bag of food.
Here, my friend. Take this. Thank you, sir. I didn't expect anyone to notice. Sometimes the smallest acts can make the biggest difference.
Pastor James steps back. The man opens the bag, nods, and starts eating.
So that is what quiet faith looks like. Not everything needs to be loud to be real. Why doesn't he make a big deal out of it? Doesn't anyone notice? Because he's not doing it for notice. He's doing it because it's right. Maybe. I've been looking in the wrong places. Faith often speaks in silence, while judgment shouts in our hearts.
Ethan leaned slightly toward the side, whispering to an unseen church member. Arms crossed, brows furrowed.
I expected more from our pastor. I mean, he's supposed to lead by example, right? What do you mean? Helping a homeless man in secret? That's it? I thought he'd make a statement, something everyone could see. Something impressive. Maybe he's not doing it for attention. Then why even bother? People need to know who's setting the standard. Maybe the standard isn't about being noticed. Maybe it's about being faithful. Faithful? Quiet doesn't inspire anyone. Sometimes it does. You just have to look closer. Maybe I'm missing something. Careful, Ethan. You might be missing the message. What message? I'm seeing exactly what's happening. Are you seeing the person? Or just what you expect them to be? I see hypocrisy, Lucas. People pretending to be good. Pretending to care. Sometimes quiet acts speak louder than loud words. And sometimes, the real lesson isn't about the person, it's about you. About me? Yes. Your judgment. Your assumptions. Your need to measure faith by what's visible. That's what Pastor James is teaching, if you'd only pay attention. So you're saying, I could be the one missing it? Exactly. Don't let what's quiet escape you. Listen. Observe. Understand.
Sarah sits calmly, carrying her Bible. Two church members are nearby, whispering. Their faces are partially off-screen. Have you noticed how quiet Sarah is? She never joins the conversations. Exactly. I don't know if she's really devoted or just pretending. Sarah overhears. She lowers her head slightly and walks a few steps aside. Lord, help me. Let their words not weigh on me. Let your light shine through, even when no one sees. Ethan watches from a distance, frowning, conflicted. Lucas stands near him, calm.
So maybe she really is different. Quiet faith is often misunderstood. Until it's understood.
Lord, I come to you because you are the only one who truly knows me. You know my thoughts before I speak them. You understand my silence when others misunderstand it. Today, people spoke about me without asking me anything. They judged my quietness as weakness, and my calmness as distance. It hurts, Lord. Not because I need their approval, but because I try to live with love, and love is often misread. There are moments when I want to explain myself. Moments when I want to speak loudly so they will understand. But you taught me that not every battle needs words. And not every misunderstanding needs an explanation. So I ask you tonight. Give me strength to remain gentle. Give me patience when my heart feels tired from being unseen. Help me love people who talk about me when I'm not there. Help me forgive before bitterness finds a place in my heart. Protect me, Lord. Protect my heart from anger disguised as righteousness. Teach me to serve without applause. To give without recognition. To walk humbly even when it feels lonely. And when I feel forgotten. Remind me that you see everything. Every quiet act. Every unseen sacrifice. Every prayer whispered through tears. Lord, help me love. Even when I am misunderstood. Help me stay faithful. Even when no one notices.
Thank you all for staying behind. Before we close, does anyone have a question or concern they'd like to share? Yes, Pastor. I do. I've been listening carefully to the messages preached here about love, mercy, patience, and humility. But I'm struggling to understand how these teachings are being practiced consistently, especially by those in leadership. Go on, Ethan. Speak freely. With respect, Pastor, I believe leadership should set visible examples. Faith shouldn't be hidden or unclear. People need to see strong actions, bold actions, actions that inspire everyone. When things are done quietly, in secret, it creates confusion. It makes people wonder whether we truly stand for what we preach. I expected more structure, more accountability, more openness. Because when leadership is silent or subtle, it leaves room for doubt. And doubt weakens faith. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Ethan. Let me ask you something. Do you believe faith only has value when it is visible to everyone? I believe faith should be clear. I believe people should know where we stand. Not every act of obedience is meant for public approval. Some are meant only for God. But how do we measure sincerity if we don't see it? We measure it by fruit, by patience, by humility, by love that continues even when misunderstood. Leadership is not about being seen doing good. It is about doing good faithfully. Sometimes the loudest faith isn't the strongest one. This church is a place of growth, not perfection. And sometimes, God teaches us more through quiet obedience than public performance. Let me say this clearly, and with love. Truth does not panic. Truth does not rush to defend itself. Truth reveals itself with time. When something is real, it does not need constant explanation. It stands firm, even when questioned, even when misunderstood. In leadership, and in faith, there will always be moments when actions are quiet, unseen, and uncelebrated. But silence does not mean absence. And humility does not mean weakness. Some of the most faithful people you will ever meet are those whose names you may never hear, because they serve without seeking attention. So I ask us all, leaders and members alike, to give grace the time it needs to speak. Watch the fruit. Watch the consistency. Watch the love that remains steady when no one is applauding. In the end, truth does not need noise to survive. It only needs time. Let us be patient with one another, and humble enough to admit when we are still learning.
Ethan stands near a bench, watching small groups of church members talking. He steps toward one group.
Hey. I was hoping to talk for a moment. I just wanted to check in and see how everyone's doing.
The group goes quiet. One member nods politely, then steps away. Another turns and walks off. Ethan is left standing alone.
Did I say something wrong? Ethan, I think people are giving you space. Space? I didn't insult anyone. I didn't raise my voice. I only said what I believed needed to be said. I thought honesty was valued here. I thought asking questions was part of growing in faith. It is. But the way truth is spoken matters just as much as the truth itself. So now people are avoiding me because I spoke up? Because I didn't stay silent like everyone else?
Two church members pass by behind them. That's Ethan. Things felt tense after what he said.
They don't even want to hear me explain. They've already decided who I am. And that feeling is exactly what others felt when they were judged. Are you saying I judged them? I'm saying your words placed you above them, even if you didn't intend to. I never meant to sound superior. I just didn't want the church to lose its integrity. Integrity also means humility. It means being willing to ask, could I be wrong? I've never felt this alone in my life. Not outside these walls, but inside them. I thought standing for truth would bring clarity. Instead, it's bringing distance. Sometimes distance is where reflection begins. I see people pulling away, and it hurts more than I expected. Maybe I wasn't as careful as I thought. Maybe I spoke before listening long enough. That realization is where growth usually starts. I wanted to correct others, but maybe God is correcting me. Consequences don't always come as punishment. Sometimes they come as mirrors. Ethan, I need to say something. And I hope you'll hear it with an open heart, even if it stings at first. You speak so loudly about faith. You quote scripture. You question the leadership. You point out what's right and what's wrong. You do it with conviction, with certainty, and sometimes with fire. But in all that, I don't see the same eagerness when it comes to love. You are slow to listen, slow to forgive, slow to understand the struggles of those around you, slow to love. I care. I care about the church. I care about truth. I care about integrity. I'm not here to harm anyone. I know you care, Ethan. But caring about rules, about appearances, about being right, is not the same as caring about hearts. So you're saying I'm wrong for being concerned? For holding people accountable? For speaking up when I see hypocrisy? No, I'm saying there is a difference between accountability and judgment. Between pointing out flaws and offering grace. Between being loud about faith and quiet about love. You measure faith by what people do publicly. You judge intentions before listening. You criticize quietly faithful actions, thinking you see the whole picture. But you only see a part. You only see what confirms your assumptions. I'm telling you this not to shame you, but because if you continue this way, you will find yourself alone, frustrated, and blind to what God is trying to teach you.
Sarah is seen carrying a small bag. She notices an elderly woman struggling to sit. Sarah walks over calmly. Please, take your time. There is no need to rush. You've already done enough for today. She gently helps the woman sit and places the bag beside her. You're very kind. I didn't want to bother anyone. Sarah, you're not a bother. You matter. Just as much as everyone else here. Sometimes help doesn't need permission. Sometimes it just needs willingness. People don't always see these things. That's all right. God sees. And that is enough for me. A short distance away, Ethan watches. He doesn't interrupt. His expression is quiet, conflicted.
She doesn't announce it. She doesn't explain it. She just does it. Love doesn't need an audience. It only needs a willing heart.
If you need anything else, I'll be nearby. You don't have to face things alone.
All this time, I was measuring faith by noise. And I missed the love that was right in front of me. Ethan, I've thought about this carefully. Your ideas are strong. Your vision is impressive. But the way you handle disagreement concerns me. I'm passionate about excellence. I don't believe in settling for less or pretending flaws don't exist. Passion is valuable. But when it comes without humility, it becomes difficult to work with. In our last meeting, you dismissed feedback before listening fully. You spoke as if your way was the only way forward. I was only trying to protect the integrity of the project. Someone has to be firm. Firmness without respect feels like pride. And pride makes collaboration impossible. So I've decided not to move forward with this deal. You're walking away. Because I spoke honestly? No. Because you didn't listen. I hope this doesn't discourage you. I hope it teaches you something valuable. I thought confidence would open doors. But it's closing them. I heard what happened. I lost the deal, Lucas. Months of work. Gone in a moment. They said I was proud. That I didn't listen. That I made everything about being. And the worst part is that I think they're right. Failure doesn't always mean you weren't gifted. Sometimes it means God is dealing with your heart before your success. I've been loud everywhere, church, work, life, but I've been slow to learn. This loss hurts. But maybe it's the first honest mirror I've looked into. Pride resists correction. But humility grows from it. Pastor. I pray, I fast, I show up, I speak boldly. But lately, everything I touch falls apart. My plans failed. People pulled away. And when I cry out to God, all I hear is silence. Why does it feel like God is silent when I need Him the most? Ethan, silence from God is often misunderstood. We think silence means absence, but sometimes it means God is close enough to watch, to teach, to shape. When God is quiet, He is often doing His deepest work in us. But I thought bold faith was enough. I thought speaking truth loudly meant I was doing right. Now I feel exposed. Like everything I was proud of has been stripped away. God doesn't strip us to shame us. He strips us to save us. You spoke truth, Ethan, but truth without love can become noise. God is not punishing you. He is inviting you to grow. I judged people I didn't understand. I spoke before listening. I thought I was defending God. But now I wonder if I was defending my ego. That realization alone tells me God is not silent. He is speaking, just not to your pride anymore, but to your heart. So what do I do now? You slow down. You listen. You learn to love quietly before you speak loudly again. Faith isn't proven by how strong your voice is, but by how gentle your spirit becomes. God hasn't left you, Ethan. He's teaching you how to hear Him. Sometimes God is quiet. Not because He has nothing to say, but because He wants us to finally hear our own hearts. In the noise of our certainty, we often drown out the truth about who we are becoming. When God goes silent, He is not withdrawing love. He is removing distractions. He allows the echoes of our words, our attitudes, and our motives to come back to us, so we can examine them honestly. I've been hearing things I didn't want to admit. Pride, impatience, the need to be seen as right. That's the heart speaking, Ethan. And it speaks clearest when heaven is quiet. God listens to how we treat people long before He listens to how loudly we speak about Him. I thought silence meant rejection. Silence is often an invitation to repentance, to humility, to growth. Before God changes our situation, He changes our perspective. God is teaching you to sit with Him, not perform for Him. When you learn that lesson, His voice will return, not to accuse you, but to guide you. I want to listen. Even if it's uncomfortable. Then you're finally hearing God. Ethan, there's something you need to know, something I should have told you earlier, but I hoped you would see it on your own. If this is another lesson, Lucas, I've had enough of those. This isn't a lesson. This is 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 a lesson. This It's the truth. The truth about Sarah. The one you barely noticed, and quietly judged. She's the one who cleans the church early in the mornings when no one is watching. She buys groceries for the elderly woman down the street every week with her own money. She sits with the lonely, listens to the broken, and prays for people who never say thank you. While people talked, she served. While you questioned motives, she carried burdens that weren't hers. And when she was misunderstood, she never defended herself, she prayed. I thought her silence meant indifference. No. Her silence was discipline. She believed love didn't need an announcement, and faith didn't need applause. She once told me, if God sees it, that's enough for me. And honestly, Ethan, God saw everything. I misjudged her. I spoke so confidently about faith, yet I couldn't recognize it when it was right in front of me. We all miss it sometimes. But the danger is not in missing it, it's in refusing to admit we were wrong. I need to make things right. Then this time, let your actions speak. I was so sure I was right. I spoke with confidence, judged with boldness, and assumed my opinions were wisdom. But all along, I was blind to what real faith looked like. I criticized the pastor who fed the hungry when no one was watching. I dismissed a woman who loved in silence while I demanded recognition. I thought faith needed noise, but it needed humility. I measured everyone by my expectations instead of God's standards. I called discernment what was really pride. I called honesty what was really impatience. Sarah lived the message I only talked about. Pastor James taught with his life while I waited for perfection. And now I see it, too late to pretend I didn't. God wasn't silent. I was too loud to hear him. I don't need to be right anymore. I need to be humble. And if there's any chance to undo the damage I caused, I'll take it, no matter how uncomfortable it is.
Volunteers move quietly. Sarah serves food, cleans tables, and listens attentively to people without drawing attention to herself. Ethan stands at a distance, watching.
I used to believe that faith had to be announced to be real. I thought if people didn't hear your voice, then your belief must be weak. But standing here now, watching you, I realize how wrong I was. She served without demanding recognition. She gave without expecting gratitude. And somehow, in her silence, her faith speaks louder than all my words ever did.
He watches as Sarah wipes a table, then helps a child with care.
I judged what I didn't understand. I confused quietness with emptiness and silence with indifference. But now I see, your silence is full of prayer, discipline, and deep trust in God. While I was busy talking about faith, you were living it. While I was trying to be seen, you were making sure others were cared for. This is what belief looks like when it's real. Teach me how to love like this, not loudly, not proudly, but faithfully. Even when no one is watching. Truth reveals itself with time. It does not rush to explain itself, and it does not panic when questioned. Truth is patient enough to wait until character speaks louder than opinions. When we are eager to expose others, we must first ask whether we are willing to examine ourselves. Judgment often feels like courage, but it can be fear wearing a confident voice. Leadership is not proven by perfection, and faith is not measured by how loudly we speak about it. They are revealed in consistency, what we do when no one is watching, and how we treat people who cannot repay us. If something is truly wrong, time will uncover it. And if something is truly right, time will also defend it. Our responsibility is not to rush to conclusions, but to walk in love while truth does its work. Let us be careful not to damage people while trying to protect principles. Because when love is absent, even truth can become harmful. In the end, Truth does not need our anger to survive. It only needs our patience. I spoke without knowing your heart, and I judged your silence as weakness. I assumed that faith needed to sound like me, look like me, and agree with me. In doing so, I failed to see the love you were living every single day. I questioned your motives without asking your story. I criticized what I didn't understand and wounded someone who never deserved it. I am truly sorry for my words, my attitude, and the pain I caused.
Grace taught me to forgive, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. I learned that holding on to hurt only keeps love from flowing freely. I prayed for you long before you apologized. I knew God would speak to your heart in His own time, just as He did to mine.
I'm learning that now. And I hope one day my faith can be as quiet, sincere, and genuine as yours.
Faith grows when we let God change us, not when we try to impress others. Forgiveness is love released.
I don't have the right words, Sarah. For a long time, I thought prayer was about sounding strong and confident. But right now, all I have is honesty, and I hope that's enough.
Honesty is where God meets us. He listens more closely to a sincere heart than a perfect sentence.
Lord, I come to you without excuses and without pride. I spoke when I should have listened, judged when I should have loved, and assumed I knew your ways when I had not yet learned your heart. Thank you for showing me grace through people I misunderstood. Teach me to walk humbly, to serve quietly, and to love without needing recognition. Change not only my actions, but my motives.
Father, thank you for the work you are doing in Ethan. Thank you for reminding us that no one is beyond growth, and no heart is beyond your reach. Help us love the way you love, patiently, sincerely, and without condition. When we are misunderstood, give us peace. When we are corrected, give us wisdom. And when pride rises, teach us to lay it down.
Amen.
Amen. Where humility meets grace, reconciliation begins.
I judged your teaching without living it. I listened to your words, but I never allowed them to change my heart. I spoke boldly about truth, yet I ignored the quiet obedience you were modeling. I questioned your leadership publicly, not because I truly sought clarity, but because I wanted to feel certain, superior, and right. I see now that my criticism revealed more about my pride than your character. I'm sorry for the division one caused, for the doubt I planted, and for speaking before I understood the weight of responsibility you carry. Please forgive me. Ethan, forgiveness was never delayed, it was waiting for this moment. Leadership isn't about avoiding criticism, it's about responding to it with grace. I've watched you wrestle with conviction, and that struggle matters. God often allows us to stumble, not to shame us, but to teach us humility and compassion. You judged my teaching, yes, but now you are beginning to live it. And that transformation speaks louder than any apology. Thank you for your patience and your example. Truth has a way of bringing us back when we are willing to listen. Judgment belongs to God. Love belongs to us. When we confuse these two, we wound people while trying to defend righteousness. We are quick to analyze behavior, but slow to understand hearts. We label, assume, and conclude, often without asking a single question. God sees the full story, the hidden tears, the silent prayers, the unseen obedience. But we only see moments, and yet we act as if moments define a lifetime. When Jesus met people, He didn't lead with condemnation. He led with compassion, and transformation followed. Judgment builds walls. Love builds bridges. And bridges are how hearts are reached. We are not called to investigate one another's faith. We are called to reflect God's love so clearly that others encounter Him through us. So let us be careful with our words, patient with our conclusions, and generous with grace, because one day, we will all stand in need of it. Judgment belongs to God. Love belongs to us. Let us not take what is His, and neglect what is ours. There was a time when I believed faith had to be proven with words. I thought if I spoke loudly enough, people would see my devotion. But all I really did was reveal how much I needed to be noticed. I corrected others without understanding them. I measured people by my opinions instead of God's patience. I called my judgment discernment, when in truth, it was pride looking for validation. I see it clearly now. Real change doesn't argue, defend, or demand recognition. It bends low, listens deeply, and serves faithfully, even when no one is watching. I used to rush to speak, afraid that silence meant weakness. But silence has taught me humility. It has taught me that God works best in hearts that are willing to be shaped, not displayed. I don't need applause to feel useful anymore. If my hands are busy loving, my mouth can rest. If God sees my obedience, that is more than enough. A changed heart does not announce itself. It simply shows up and serves. Ethan, I've watched you over the past 2 weeks. I've watched you stumble, argue, and wrestle with pride. I've watched you struggle to see what was right in front of you, and I've seen the frustration in your heart when life didn't bend to your expectations. But now you move differently. You no longer demand attention, no longer measure people by how loudly they speak or how quickly they act. You serve quietly, you listen carefully, and your actions carry more conviction than any words ever could. This is what it looks like to reflect Christ, not in your voice, but in your hands. Not in your judgment, but in your patience. Not in being right, but in being willing to love, even when it is inconvenient or unseen. You've begun to understand that transformation isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about allowing God to work in your heart so that your life becomes a quiet testimony of His love. Now, looking at you, I see someone who is no longer chasing recognition. I see someone who walks humbly, serves faithfully, and now you look more like Christ.
Faith is not proven by the volume of our words, nor by the strength of our arguments. It is not measured by how many people notice us, or how loudly we can proclaim our beliefs. Faith is proven in the quiet moments, when no one is watching, when no one applauds, and when love flows without expectation of return. Love is patient, humble, and selfless. It doesn't demand recognition, and it doesn't need an audience to be valid. True faith is found in obedience, in service, and in the willingness to lay down pride for the sake of another. I have learned that those who rush to be seen are often blind to what truly matters. And those who serve quietly are often the ones God uses most profoundly. Our actions, not our words, leave the lasting mark. So, when you feel unnoticed, misunderstood, or overlooked, remember this: faith is not proven by words. Faith is proven by love lived faithfully, quietly, and consistently. Love quietly. Serve humbly. Faithfully. Before you rush to judge what you see, before you speak hastily about what you think you understand, pause. And remember that every story has layers you cannot see. Every heart carries burdens and struggles that are invisible. Every lesson is taught by a teacher whose ways are higher than ours, and whose timing is perfect even when we cannot understand it. Too often, we measure faith by words spoken loudly, by actions noticed by many, or by appearances that can deceive. But God's truth is deeper. He sees hearts. He knows intentions. He watches how we respond when no one else is watching, how we love when there is nothing to gain, and how we forgive when it seems impossible. before you judge the lesson. Make sure you know the teacher before you assume, criticize, or condemn. Make sure you understand the heart behind the action. Because judgment belongs to God alone, and love belongs to us to carry, faithfully, humbly, and consistently. Matthew 7 verse 1 Judge not, that you be not judged. Let your life reflect the love of God, not the noise of human opinion. Serve quietly, love faithfully, and walk humbly before Him, for in humility, hearts are transformed. Thank you for watching this story with us. We hope it reminded you that love, humility, and quiet faith speak louder than words ever could. May your heart be encouraged to serve, forgive, and walk faithfully in God's ways. Remember, judgment belongs to God, and love belongs to us. Carry it with you today, and every day,